Good evening and welcome to Le Krewe d'Etat's 19th Annual Carnival Parade. I'm Karen Boudry, your host for tonight's broadcast, along with Errol Laborde, and we're happy to have Don Ostrom with us this year. And there's something kind of different in the air tonight, and we're not talking just that it's Friday the 13th. Something strange happening behind us tonight.
You know, Karen, for as long as there have been parades coming down St. Charles Avenue, Gallier Hall has been a traditional place to toast. In fact, in 1872, the first Rex Parade, the Grand Duke Alexis sat in those stands there to see the Rex Parade. So it is ceremonial, very important, but this year there are problems. Dawn, you've been looking into them.
I have. The mayor usually is sitting right there to receive the toast. This year he's sitting on the opposite side of the street, the Lafayette Square side of the street. Gallier Hall had a piece of the cornice fall off onto the granite steps below back in August when they were doing some sprinkler work inside. They thought it was a simple problem. They've learned it's a whole entire facade problem, not just the front facade of the building in trouble, but both sides as well. Just the front fix is $1.1 million, and right now we're facing budget cuts in the city and in the state, and there just isn't money to fix it. For this year, it's shuttered. We don't know whether that will be the case in 2016 as well.
So they don't know totally how to fix it, nor do they have the money to fix it if they knew how.
Exactly.
And
kind of scary.
I was going to say, whatever that figure is, I'm sure it's a scary figure. But we're going to forget about all that tonight, and we're going to see what these guys are going to scare up for us in just a moment. We're going to take a break and come back with the start of Le Krewe d'Etat 2015 on this Friday the 13th. So we're kind of hinting about what you can expect to see tonight. One incredible parade, no doubt. Stay with us. You got a front row seat. We'll be right back. Right now, we'd like to take a moment and thank our sponsors who are so dedicated to this parade that they make this broadcast possible, and we're so happy to have them as sponsors of Le Krewe d'Etat. Bill and Ann Hughes. Bill and Ann have been fans of Le Krewe d'Etat since its inception. The whole Hughes family wishes all of the revelers a safe and happy Mardi Gras 2015.
In the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic and Spine Institute, the Spine Institute offers comprehensive evaluation and treatment programs for spinal injuries and disorders. Its board-certified, fellowship-trained physicians work directly with patients to develop individual treatment options and approaches. Through this direct focus, they produce better patient outcomes, minimize risk, and speed recoveries. For more information, contact the office at 225-924-2424 or visit the website at www.brortho, that's BRORTHO.com.
All right, and Kingfish Development. Kingfish Development is pleased to sponsor the broadcast of 2015 Le Krewe d'Etat Parade. Kingfish Development is the owner of the New Orleans Exchange Center located at 935 Gravier Street and the 2400 Veterans Office Building. The dictator and his loyal troops are proud to call the New Orleans Exchange Center the new headquarters for their revolution.
Murphy Appraisal Service is a comprehensive real estate appraisal and consulting firm with extensive experience throughout Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. Based in Greater New Orleans, it covers the wider region through its network of 6 offices, a team of 12 certified appraisers, and an unmatched support staff of researchers and local market experts. They use the most advanced database in the industry, and state-of-the-art technology allows a complete, reliable valuation and a prompt turnaround. Its analysis of the real estate market has helped clients make informed business decisions for maybe 30 years.
Also this year, sponsoring Krewe d'Etat 2015, the Minister of Solid Waste and his crew of revolutionaries. And that's all they want to say about that.
He's pretty secretive. He doesn't mess around. Fritz Hertz Electric. Since 1951, Fritz Hertz Electric Company has been part of New Orleans and Mardi Gras and is a proud sponsor of Le Krewe d'Etat. Fritz Hertz Electric Company prides itself on being a family-owned and operated business since 1951 and has become one of the largest electrical contractors in the greater New Orleans area. They manage both large and small-scale projects such as the Hyatt Regency Hotel, Mahalia Jackson Theater, Manning's Restaurant, and the National World War II Museum. Their longevity speaks to their quality of work, high standards, and reputation in the New Orleans area. Fritz Hertz Electric is lighting New Orleans.
Schoenberg keeps you close to those you care about most. The cornerstone of the Schoenberg community philosophy is that exceptional assisted living and memory care is personal. Personal care begins and ends with the person, and the family, friends, and loved ones of each resident play an important role in shaping and strengthening our communities. They know at Schoenberg that starting a new chapter in a new place is a big step, which is why they have developed 4 conveniently located memory care and assisted living communities across the greater New Orleans area. From Vista Shores' scenic location overlooking Bayou St. John and the roaming acres of Parc Provence in Slidell, to the award-winning memory care programs offered at Ashton Manor in Luling and Beau-Provence in Mandeville, each Schoenberg community ensures that the highest quality of care and life for your loved one is only a quick car ride away, and the comfort of knowing you are always close by allows them to feel right at home. Come home to your nearest Schoenberg community today.
And longtime friends of this broadcast, Bob and Alice Hughes, probably sponsor this rebroadcast of the 2015 Le Coup d'Etat Parade.
Inside Publications. Watch for the new Inside New Orleans. It joins the Inside North Shore magazine in bringing you closer to your community with stories of history, home design, fashion, fun, and great food. Beautiful art on the cover, striking photography on the pages, and stories you want to hear. Join the conversation with some of the noted contributors like experts Tom Fitzmaurice. Local, engaged, and influential, very inside New Orleans. Again, thank you so much to all of these sponsors for making Coup d'Etat 2015 possible. All right, the start of Coup d'Etat 2015 is happening now with the entrance of the Budweiser Clydesdales, the beloved Budweiser Clydesdales, who have been a part of this parade for as long as I can remember.
And the grandfathered Budweiser Clydesdales. You know, there's a rule that you can't have commercialism in parades in New Orleans, which is a rule I respect very much. But when they passed the law, they allowed for the Clydesdales because they had been so much a part of the New Orleans Carnival. So it's one of the very few examples that you'll see of commercialism, but they know it's really about the Clydesdales. And there they are.
There they are. Just gorgeous animals, and of course, a big hit in this year's Super Bowl with their puppy love commercial.
Oh, that
a
Super
huge
Bowl
hit.
commercial, yeah.
Wonderful. This year's theme, we're finally allowed to tell you, is Friday the 13th. It is kept secret until the night of the parade, which harkens back to the old days of the secrecy and the pageantry of Mardi Gras, and that's really what Coup d'Etat is all about, harkening back to those days. They did want to get away from the commercialism and the super cruise with floats as big as aircraft carriers. They wanted to get back to the roots of Mardi Gras, and that's what they've done. And tonight's Friday the 13th.
This is a fairly new crew. By fairly new, by New Orleans standards, this is its 19th parade. But from the very beginning, they tried to be traditional and faithful to the look of the old carnival. I respect that. This I respect too. Yes. This is the skeletons. This is one of the crew's signature devices. And there used to be in the Treme area, in the black neighborhoods, a tradition on Mardi Gras of people dressing like skeletons. And that tradition was on the wane. I understand there's a bit of a revival now that people are bringing it back, but the Coup d'Etat created its own skeletons. And so that's that's what it used to look like. And you hear stories about these people scaring little kids, in Mardi Gras morning.
You see what they're doing? They're handing out the Gazette, and you see Don Ostrom there getting one. And that is the depiction of all the floats, because you really need to sit back later and have this parade sort of sink into you and read about what you've just seen, because it's hard to take all in one night. They do such a tremendous job, and sometimes it moves a little too fast for some of us. But they are invited by the crew. They're not crew members in the skeleton crew. They're actually invited to parade as part of the Coup d'Etat. And here we have the Brother Martin High School Band, the Crusader Band.
One of the really good bands in Mardi Gras. There are other bands that get a lot more attention, but the Brother Martin Band is a good band.
And they also have their color guard along tonight as well. There is the captain, who will always remain secret to the public. We'll never see that mask off. We'll never know the name. And Dawn Ostrom, our reporter on the street, is going to
I'm
talk
great.
to the
How
captain.
are you?
It's great. It's been a beautiful night. The weather's been incredible, and the crowds are probably the biggest we've seen. They're loud, having fun. It's been awesome. One of the best we've ever had.
Well, enjoy the rest of your ride, Captain. Thank you very much. You heard it from the captain, one of the best they've ever had. Karen, back to you.
Thanks, Dawn.
And if you didn't know it already, you could tell he's captain by his whistle. That's really what defines a captain.
Beautiful costume. And the riding lieutenants, it's really a privilege to ride with the captain. And he has to ask you, basically, to be a riding lieutenant. And usually it's someone who's done a lot to help the parade throughout the year. And
like
here's
the
the dictator getting his toast.
We have our state representative Wallace Shea with us, and of course the whole city that welcome you. Your crew looks great. You look spectacular. That sword becomes you. You should carry it with you around the city. We want to welcome you, and we want to raise a glass in your honor and thank you for leading such an exquisite crew. The streets of New Orleans are yours, and we hope that you have a wonderful ride. We're going to give you, hold on, we're going to give you a microphone and a glass.
Again, they have the only thing that's similar to other crews are the pages in front, but that's about it.
Along with City Year, our volunteers who have come to serve this city and to move us forward. Thank you so much. Our hearts are with you tonight as you ride the streets of the city of New Orleans.
And there's the champagne.
Mayor, council members, and other government officials, and the special guests tonight, we thank you all for being here tonight, and we thank the government, our city, for allowing us to take over your streets tonight. We have a great parade. I think you'll appreciate it and understand it, most of it at least. We do want to say that the crew, since we've taken over the streets, we had started out tonight with 8 pages. We only have 4 right now, but I think they fell off in the section where there were no street lights, but we'll be okay. If you find them, please return them to me. But our revolutionary show, take you on a good show tonight, so please enjoy, and thank you for having us tonight.
Have a great time, everybody. Hail Dictator! Woo! And Michael, your mama says she wants to see you. The pages look great. Have a great time, Dictator. Here.
A little jibe with the mayor about
I think
the
so.
streets.
And they might have hit a pothole and a few pages fell off.
The first of several jibes that we have tonight.
Yeah, there's more to come.
Fall into a pothole.
Oh.
It'll be good.
You heard it here first. One thing you will also see the dictator, he does have the sword, but he also has a femur as his scepter, which sort of shows Le Coup d'Etat's dark side.
With that,
And that's kind of all about the theme tonight in the Friday the 13th, what they're doing.
but also their symbol is that skeleton figure.
Right.
The
They are taking Friday the 13th and taking all the people's fears and scary movies and superstitions and wrapping that all up into the theme of their floats this evening. So we're going to see a lot of scary fun this evening. And there's the dictator surrounded by his gargoyles and pages on for the rest of his ride. He's the all-seeing visionary leader of d'Etat's revolution.
It occurs to me from the dictator's perspective, now that the reviewing stands on the other side of the street, the government has moved to the right now. So.
Literally to the right.
By the way, if you're wondering about those flames on the floats, those are false flames, but they look nice. I think they're pretty neat.
Well, that's again something you'll see throughout this parade is that you won't see a lot of painted on things. You will see a lot of additions like that. What they try to do is give you the 3D effect, the look of lighting like that, real flame. Things aren't painted on. They do a lot of appliques and a lot of extras here. And this is the Catholic High School Marching Band all the way from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Right, you're seeing some more flambeaus, and one of the things that's unique about Coup d'etat is that the flambeaus, most of these guys have been with them since the inception, and they're often father and son. They're families that do this as a tradition every year.
There's a real business about getting flambeau because there are some flambeau that know that if they go in one parade over another, they can make more in terms of tips. And so people really need to kind of bargain on. We were talking a while ago about the coup d'etat symbol, the skeleton, and he's leading the banana wagon, the old traditional New Orleans
there's
wagon.
some tradition of ore being pulled by mules and actual wagon wheels on the banana wagon. Tulane University marching band now.
I always like to see the Tulane band. You know, the Tulane band's got to play with different rules from some universities. They don't have a lot of, it's not a big scholarship band. It's like, you know, students who volunteer, students and faculty. But the fact that they get together, they got uniforms, they put out a band, I think it's just a wonderful thing to see.
More of the riding lieutenants, and it's such a different perspective to be on horseback, and that's why it's such a privilege. It's one thing to be up on a float, but down on horseback you really get more of a 360, you know, total view of the crowds and what's happening around you, and you can get up close and personal with the crowds, which these riding lieutenants really like to do, hand out those doubloons and
Exactly
make contact
right.
with the people. It's great.
Yeah. You talk to the people who've ridden on floats and have been lieutenants, and they talk about how great the experience is for the exact reasons that you mentioned, that you're really closer to the crowd, you get to feel the reaction, you get to interact more, whereas on the float you get lost a little bit, but they really enjoy it, as long as the horse cooperates.
Right. I'm sure some of these people aren't equestrians too. This might be the first or second or third time they've ever ridden a horse. Here is our title float, Fry d'Etat, which always announces the theme every year of the parade. So this is a float that you will see every year in the parade, but all the other ones pretty much, except for the ones that we've seen, such as the banana wagon and the dictator's float, they're reworked every year. They don't use these same floats over and over again, except their title floats and their signature floats. And look, there's a dictator.
There you go.
Awesome. It's a bobblehead.
Yeah.
Awesome throws they have in this parade.
That's what you call a signature float. And usually flag parades, the title float will be a signature float. You know, it's a continuing float, you just change the title. But yeah, next year at the 20th anniversary, you can imagine it'll probably have a 20th anniversary theme.
It's going to be something else. The St. Charles Streetcar Band, they've been with Coup d'etat for a number of years now, a fixture in many Mardi Gras parades. I want to mention too that the theme that we're talking about this year with d'etat the 13th is they're wrapping their theme really around ill omens and frights and disasters of all sorts, references to superstitions, pop culture, and those folks that the dictator ridicules quite often, such as local politicians and national politicians. So that's what we're going to see coming up.
Now, we were talking a while ago.
All right, Dawn is actually on the High Priest candy wagon. I hope she's getting something sweet. Dawn? Down there somewhere. She's probably eating too much Roman candy. There she is.
I am on the High Priest candy wagon. This is the Roman candy you can find only usually in uptown New Orleans. Right now they're throwing it all over downtown New Orleans. It is a crowd favorite, and I'm going to get us some. Karen?
Great, thank you. They introduced that a couple of years ago, and that is kind of a signature thing now for Coup d'etat, a real popular float.
So we've seen the Bruno's banana wagon remembered, and of course the Roman candy wagon, which still exists around town.
And here's our high priest, and he's the spiritual, mystical leader of Coup d'etat, and he's the one that calls on his legions of the undead to come out and party tonight and live to ride and ride to live, which is the motto of Coup d'etat, and these folks do it with gusto. They really do. And the high priest is not known, never revealed, and that is part of the secrecy of what Coup d'etat is all about.
Yeah, a lot of newer crews don't stick to the secrecy tradition, but the Coup d'etat, just because that's the way it was, does. They don't do it for any sinister reasons. They do it because that was the tradition. Of all the places along the St. Charles Parade route, and there are many places that have a great view, but right here along Gallier Hall has to be one of the places. It's not quite as grand as usual because of the construction across the street at Gallier Hall, but when you see those shots going up and down the street and the balconies, it's really a beautiful setting.
They still have the lights there, as you can see behind the ROTC from Chalmette High School, shining on Gallier Hall with some of the jesters. So they're trying to give it a little bit of carnival spirit despite its appearance. And we have the Fighting Owls marching band now.
It's the feel-good band too, because this is an area that was really hit hard by Katrina, and the high school was, and it's been a few years coming back, but it always had a fairly well-known band, and to see this band now and to see is really just a good feeling.
All right, we actually have our first float that is themed with Friday the 13th, and this is Bloody Mary.
Yeah, here's one.
And that's the reference to that old folklore, say Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary in the mirror, and you'll see your future, and it's often very scary. Well, they say that's what happened to Mary Landry here.
Yeah, here's the one where I hope the mayor's taking a drink or something somewhere. Okay. Yeah, it kind of teases Bloody Mary Landry, mayor's sister, who, of course, ran for re-election, was defeated. You see the mayor, who's depicted on the side. That's Cassidy, who won, kind of presented as sort of like a zombie sort of figure. And somewhere down there you'll see David Vitter. There you go. David Vitter. No, that's Landry. That'd be Vitter over the left.
And they're giving some reasons why she lost the election, in their opinion. If they don't like it, they can unelect us, and that's what they said Mary Landry told voters, and I guess they took her up on it.
Now, if any of you are politically offended by anything on this float, don't get uptight, because this parade offends everybody. I mean,
right. They're equal opportunity offenders.
And
it's all in fun.
It offends
New
all over
Orleans
the
Nymphs,
spectrum,
here we are. This is awesome. This year, they're calling themselves
It's like zombies.
Swallowed Whole, H-O-L-E. We talked about the streets and the potholes, so they are zombies this year who've been swallowed by the streets of New Orleans. You'll see some of them that will have little cones on their head like, you know, hey, watch out for the pothole. These ladies are, many of them are wives, friends, business associates. They are about 40 plus, and they started practicing this in October of last year. And I talked to some of them, they're just adorable. They said that they practice on the lakefront, and a lot of the tour buses will go by and watch them and wave at them, and they've kind of become a tourist attraction as they're out there on Saturday mornings getting ready for this parade, and that's some serious dedication. And they're going to perform now to Michael Jackson's Thriller. Never open umbrellas indoors.
Now this is in reference, and this might be an important discovery, to the Saints having such a disappointing season. And you know when they do second lines during Saints games? When they do second lines during Saints games, they're opening umbrellas. And that might be the source of bad luck.
Some of the bad luck in it.
For the Saints over the years.
We're referring back to the Aints and the old days. And you can't see it now, but just a second ago you could see some of the smoke coming out of Rob Ryan's ears, and he's on the front of the float there. He was the darling last year, and now he's kind of being the demon this year.
I think he'll survive.
What a difference a year makes.
Absolutely. But maybe it needs to be a rule. No more second lines. This can show us how topical you need to be. This is a fairly recent, señorita.
The big battle between the Bensons there depicted on the back of the float. The Houdat Shack rocks. Abdul the tent maker.
Abdul the tent maker. You see Bertie Diliberto's picture in the back. He was one of the call-in characters during the prime of Bertie Diliberto's show.
And he started writing parodies and songs and finally started really getting a following. He's made a lot of CDs and he's been a part of this parade. More riding lieutenants.
He's got his own float now.
All right. Now look at the artistry there. Now that's just unique, just something. I remember seeing this in the den and I was just so impressed with the artistry here. And this is Royal Artists. This float is 7 years of bad luck, and they're referring to the Obama presidency here and what Data and many others consider some failures of that.
Moving into its 7th year, and you have about the political defeats and it's a pretty clever thing.
He's
kind of an evil-looking Obama right there. Again, if you're offended by this, if somebody else will be offended, don't worry about it.
Yep, they talk about him being the proverbial person who has a broken mirror. Now coming up is the dictator's dancing darlings. Now these are the male dancers, and the New Orleans Nymphs were the answer to the dancing darlings.
But this is one of Deta's signature groups right here, the Dancing Darlings.
And this year, look at who they're spoofing. Can you guess? Yep, it's none other than Lil' Kim, the dictator we all love to hate, right? This is so funny.
Who seems to be one of the most parodied people in Mardi Gras this year. So, but you're right. There's no division of feelings about him.
You know, the funny thing is they were trying to get that goofy. Oh, there they go. If you hear the nymphs say it, these guys don't practice enough, but I think they're a hit.
What's a little bit easier dance than Thriller? When you do Thriller, you got to practice.
You see the missile up there?
Oh, yeah.
That's a nice touch this year in reference to Lil' Kim and his weapons of potential mass destruction. We have Silent Night. Deadly Night is the title of this vote, and they're calling him Kim Fatty. And they're saying that he took over as the Grinch during the holiday season, and
with the video,
with the whole Sony hacking issue, and they're making reference also to the stars of The Interview. And there's your little Dr. Seuss Christmas tree in reference to who the Grinch was this year.
But by the way, that movie kind of came and went.
Yep.
For all the controversy.
You see the folks on the parade route there with the basket. That's a way to catch some throws. Get your laundry basket out there. You see some members of his military there, Kim Jong-un, and all sorts of characters. And that's one of those, you need to go back and read your Gazette to read all of that.
Absolutely.
Because there's so many puns, so much fun on there. And sometimes it goes by just a little too fast to catch everything. And if you're worried about the beads, you miss some of the satire. So as you wrote earlier
Put
this
away
week,
the bead bags for this parade.
put the bead bags down and pay attention to these floats.
Meanwhile, here's our military.
Yep, this is the prestigious Citadel Summerall Guard, the military college in South Carolina, where they combine academics and physical challenges along with military discipline. And you'll see some of that discipline right here as they show us these maneuvers.
All right, give it up for the Citadel Summerall Guard.
This one's interesting. It's all black and white, and it's referencing, it's black cat, but it's a very different kind of Le Chat Noir. This is a black cat covered in oil, from what environmentalists say will happen if fracking is allowed. So this is the whole sort of fracking debate and Keystone Pipeline and just oil in general. Once again, we'd like to thank our sponsors for this year's Le Coup d'Etat Parade, Bill and Ann Hughes,
Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic and Spine Institute,
Kingfish Development,
Murphy Appraisal Service,
and the Minister of Solid Waste and his crew of revolutionaries,
Fritz Hertz Electric,
Schoenberg,
Bob and Alice Hughes,
and Inside Publications. Thanks again to this year's sponsors. This is the East Jefferson High School Band from Metairie, a District 5A school. Back to Royal Artists again. They, as you said, they do sit down with them very early from the very beginning, the inception, and it is a tough thing to take an idea and make it happen like this, and they do such a tremendous job of that. I mean, look at this. It's not just paint and in strokes, but it's you know, they're really creating art here, and this float here
This is
nine lives,
Yeah.
and boy, did he have 9 lives.
Yeah.
Does he have 9 lives, huh?
And as recent as running for Congress this year, not winning but getting into a runoff, having a baby, having
Being on a reality
TV
show, a failed one at that, but he just keeps recreating himself. He just refuses to go away, and that's perfect for coup d'etat to make fun of.
This is something that's really growing in Mardi Gras. I think it's a wonderful thing, and that's these dancing groups, primarily female dancing groups, and they're good, but they're funny. I mean, they have a funny idea, and they just and they add a lot at street level, which is I really like. What I really like about this one is that some of the dancing groups will have this electronic music, you know, pulled by a wagon. It's got a real band behind it. And so the combination of having real dancing and a real band, real music, I think that's good. You want to see more of that.
This coming up is a very mad motorist, I would say. She's not happy about hitting all the cracks in the streets in New Orleans. The potholes, the road closed until 2037. So that's what this float is about, you know, making fun of the superstition of driving on a crack, break your mother's back. Well,
That could happen.
yeah,
That could
here,
happen.
more than a back.
But you know, you can
Your
learn
whole
some-
car could get
you
lost
can learn
in some of
something
these
from Mardi Gras
potholes.
themes of what's on people's minds, and I've seen a few examples this Mardi Gras of people poking fun at this idea of the bad conditions of the streets. The good news is that they're in bad condition, most of them, because they're doing construction, so at least something is happening.
Something is happening,
But it's
yes.
really, it's tough getting around parts of town now. the streets will change from day to day because of construction. The lighting isn't good, so it's something that's on people's minds.
The Brother Martin ROTC drill team. So not only do they participate in Mardi Gras parades, but these guys also participate in various competitions around the state and work on their military precision.
Oh, when
And
you
here-
do that kind of drill, you want to be competing for something.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of work.
Here we have zombies and vampires and spare change. At just about every street corner or major street corner in their city, you see the folks asking for spare change. It seems there's a proliferation of them lately, and they're calling them the zombies and vampires that are, out to sort of suck you dry.
Yeah.
So this is very clever.
And we're not saying they're really zombies and vampires,
no.
but they do kind of get sort of annoying at times.
There's St. Mary's Dominican High School Band. And this is one of the few all-female bands, girl bands out there. And they're dancing Debs with them as well this year. This is the Dictator's Honor Guard. This is new. This is and this is going to end up being a signature float for years on out in this parade. They wanted to have some additional floats that they could keep and be part of the tradition every year.
Oh, that's a great
He
idea.
pays tribute with this honor guard to those who are devoted to the dictator and, of course, his revolution. So look at those costumes. They're kind of a military takeoff there. And we'll get to see the dictator's honor guard from here on out.
You'd think the honor guard would be next to the dictator, but this is
He's got to position him back there to make sure everything's going okay.
to be sure there's no trouble in the back. To be sure there's no. Yeah, that's a good point.
And he's, they're there to make sure everybody's having fun too, and demand it as well.
Yeah, he's got the captain to keep an eye on things up front, so maybe keep the honor guard toward the back.
Here we have Scream Queens, and this is funny. It's making fun of all of the female newscasters, Nancy Grace, starring in The Birds, all these shows where they really, in Coup d'etat's opinion, scream about things and make a big deal about things.
This is what cable
in the
TV is
news.
giving us here. So much
Pretty much, yeah, the
time
cable
to fill.
TV queens, basically.
Yeah, it's cheap news shows.
And as they call them, the female blowhards.
Oh, in the back, look, they got
Now
Brian
Williams, and that has just been in the news recently. Wonderful touch there at the last second. They are timely coup d'etat. And there we have the Walking Heads.
That I like. And
that reminds me of Carnival in Brazil.
Absolutely. And you see
it's a nice touch.
Pictures of the old carnival when they used to have them. This is the Royal Artist float.
And we'll see Richard. There he is with his
the guy with the
back
top
there
hat.
with his black hat on, dancing away, having a good time because all the work's done. Now he can enjoy the fruits of his labor and have a good time. All right, the House of Shock, and this is
what people
reference to Senate Majority Leader Mitchell as Morgus the Magnificent.
Yeah. Now, some people out there may not remember Morgus the Magnificent, but that was a program that was very popular. Morgus was sort of like a ghoulish sort of character. Came on television every Saturday night, did skits, and introduce horror movies.
And he had Chopsley, his sidekick. Yeah.
Here they come. De La Salle High School.
So they're making reference to some of the conjuring of shocking experiments in D.C. that the folks in Washington are busy concocting. And here De La Salle's high school marching band, the Cavalier Band. And they've been part of Coup d'etat for a number of years now as well. And it's nice to see these bands come back year after year because now they're creating their own tradition.
And they
being
marched,
part of
last,
this.
they marched last night in one of the parades too, so they've been busy. De La Salle was one of the schools, started as an all-male school, then with co-ed, and so you'll see among the band members males and females.
It's really one of the only co-ed Catholic schools in the region, in the area.
High schools, yeah.
Here we are, Recurring Nightmare, and this is just because New Orleans is nicknamed the Big Easy doesn't mean it's easy to live here, and it's just making fun of
All the bills.
of things that drive us nuts sometimes living in New Orleans.
I could add to that jury duty summons, which I had one of them today.
Here comes float number 16, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
And this always seems to happen towards the end of the parade, that the floats kind of get a little bit closer together. And Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That is Jennifer Lawrence on the front of that float.
Oh.
And it actually looks, that's a good likeness.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I can't say about the rest, but the faces. But basically they're making reference here to the leaking of the nude photos of so many celebrities, and to the delight of some folks out there. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And there's the Neutral Snap Band, a talented group of local musicians who like to say they bring a new dynamic to live performance, and having a good time there.
You're talking about the floats cluster, the lot of this is one of my favorite parades. I mean, favorite floats. This parody's a great part of town, Bywater, Marigny area. Sort of like the New Orleanians, like who go like on a gluten-free poor boy, or a vegan poor boy, that sort of thing, and pop-up restaurants. It's like the new life in New Orleans. Pizza pretentious.
Yeah, and they're calling that float basically the night of the living hipsters. And just a lot of attention to detail there. I mean, this took some time to put, especially that float, a lot of detail there. This is KIPP Central City Academy Marching Band. This is a charter school from the heart of New Orleans, and it's one of 162 KIPP schools across the country, having a lot of success in the charter school program across the country.
A really encouraging development. Some of the most encouraging signs you see watching this parade now are through the schools, seeing like the KIPP school, seeing the Chalmette school earlier, seeing other schools still bringing in students and growing.
Germophobia. This float's representing the fear that we were all exposed to last year, in reference to the hysteria brought on by the media concerning just about everything possible that someone could catch, from measles to the flu to Ebola. And there's the dictator's hand sanitizer. Yeah, everybody should have some of that.
And there's more of that than ever. I mean, there are more places where you go where people have sanitizers.
And they're referencing SARS, and there's mad cows down there. And
at least people have stopped wearing those little face masks.
Evil Eye. Now check this out. He's watching us. Isn't that awesome? Look at that.
That's cool.
So Got that on the front of the front of the float there. We're talking about Big Brother watching us all, watching our every move wherever we're driving around the city. Whether it be the FBI or the IRS. They're having a good time on that float.
And these Egyptian figures on cell
Yeah,
phones.
it's awesome. And you see the guys in the suits. You see the suits doing their Egyptian moves.
It's a fun float. It's good idea.
All right, Dawn is down on the street with some other parade goers. Dawn.
Karen, Errol, the beads are flying, the blinkies are lighting up, and people are having a great time. Where are y'all from?
I'm from here.
Chicago. Indianapolis.
What do you think of all this?
Love it. It's fantastic. This is a blast.
What's the best part?
And just everything about the atmosphere, the people, the bands, all the kids. It's talented. It's amazing.
You gotten enough beads?
Nope.
You?
I'm getting there. I'm pretty close.
What was the best float you've seen? What about the satire in this parade?
I mean, I wasn't expecting it. I think it's really interesting. I don't know. We were talking.
The Nancy Grace one.
I would go with that one. It just wasn't what I expected here for tonight, but it was interesting.
Interesting, satirical, funny, and fun. They're having a good time here right across from Gallery Hall tonight. Karen?
All right, thanks, Dawn.
I've heard of redheads. Well, that defines a redhead right there.
This is King College Prep Marching Band, all the way from Chicago, Illinois.
I remember this band from last year. And what I remember about it, and we saw it on the sign up front, they used the Chicago White Sox logo sort of print. But anyway, maybe we get some kind of donation from them.
All right, this is the unlucky horseshoe, and they're making reference to the fairgrounds and all of the hoopla over whether or not they should have upgraded and where the state had to step in. And
yeah, there's a lot of criticism of Churchill Downs, the owner
right.
of the fairgrounds, and one of the legislators actually wanted to withhold funding, and they reached some compromise, and Churchill Downs just put some money back into it.
But it was good fodder for Dita.
It was, yes. And they have had to do things like ostrich races and dachshund races, which is just horse racing is a challenging business these days.
They've got to sort of think outside the box, think outside the track. The Bones Brigade, they're part of this parade every year. And another wonderful live band instead of the big boom box, as we talked about. And there's your skeleton figures up there as well. Hellraiser, and they're making reference to Pope Francis and the heck that he's raising all around the world with a lot of his statements and sort of turning the establishment on its ear.
That's a look of Francis you can never see anywhere else. Wow.
Yeah, you would. It's interesting. I mean, a lot of people would be afraid to touch the Pope and make fun of him in any way,
in fact,
but not coup d'etat.
I don't remember a sitting Pope ever being satirized in the Mardi Gras Parade.
Yeah, I think that could very well be a first.
They've even got Che Guevara on the float, on the Pope Francis float. Well, they're both from Latin America, I guess.
The Ramblers, another live band, which is so wonderful to see interspersed. And now, I'm wondering if Mayor Landrieu caught this. They're going a little fast. That is Mayor Mitch on the front as Freddy Krueger, and of course, it's perfect.
The Nightmare on
Perdido Street.
And some of the issues, especially like with the Fireman's Fund and various issues, you see Marlon Guzman and Stacey Haddon, and the head of the Firemen's Union.
Yep, they're talking about he cut up his political enemies there, as you saw. All right, and here's this is Bill Cosby, and they're depicting him as Dr. Huxtable and Mr. Hyde, and you know the two sides to Bill Cosby there. He's
Yeah.
Got his pudding pop. And
There's Fat Albert right there.
Yeah. One of those kind of unbelievable things that happened in the news last year and just keeps growing and not going away. The proof is in the pudding. And see, as you say, there's the parting shot on the back of the float that we talked about. Now this is another new float. I love that they've gone to such lengths to incorporate more riders and more floats in the parade that are going to be signatures. And this is the Dictator's Navy, his Royal Navy. The Revolution has taken to the high seas. And you see the fiber optics down here, down at the bottom, flashing like there's waves on that.
It reminds me that Rex has a boat called the Royal Barge, which is one of his signature floats, and it's the one that ends its parade.
There they are, the Royal Navy of the Dictator, wrapping up the Coup d'etat parade of 2015. Right now, we'd like to take a moment and thank our sponsors who are so dedicated to this parade that they make this broadcast possible, and we're so happy to have them as sponsors of Le Coup d'etat. Bill and Ann Hughes. Bill and Ann have been fans of Le Coup d'etat since its inception. The whole Hughes family wishes all of the revelers a safe and happy Mardi Gras 2015.
In the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic and Spine Institute, the Spine Institute offers comprehensive evaluation and treatment programs for spinal injuries and disorders. Its board-certified, fellowship-trained physicians work directly with patients to develop individual treatment options and approaches. Through this direct focus, they produce better patient outcomes, minimize risk, and speed recoveries. For more information, contact the office at 225-924-2424 or visit the website at www.brortho, that's BRORTHO.com.
All right, and Kingfish Development. Kingfish Development is pleased to sponsor the broadcast of 2015 Le Coup d'etat Parade. Kingfish Development is the owner of the New Orleans Exchange Center located at 935 Gravier Street and the 2400 Veterans Office Building. The Dictator and his loyal troops are proud to call the New Orleans Exchange Center the new headquarters for their revolution.
Murphy Appraisal Service is a comprehensive real estate appraisal and consulting firm with extensive experience throughout Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. Based in Greater New Orleans, it covers the wider region through its network of 6 offices, a team of 12 certified appraisers, and an unmatched support staff of researchers and local market experts. They use the most advanced database in the industry, and state-of-the-art technology allows a complete, reliable valuation and a prompt turnaround. Its analysis of the real estate market has helped clients make informed business decisions for maybe 30 years.
Also this year, sponsoring Coup d'etat 2015, the Minister of Solid Waste and his crew of revolutionaries. And that's all they want to say about that.
He's pretty secretive. He doesn't mess around. Fritz Hertz Electric. Since 1951, Fritz Hertz Electric Company has been part of New Orleans and Mardi Gras and is a proud sponsor of the Coup d'etat. Fritz Hertz Electric Company prides itself on being a family-owned and operated business since 1951 and has become one of the largest electrical contractors in the greater New Orleans area. They manage both large and small-scale projects such as the Hyatt Regency Hotel, Mahalia Jackson Theater, Manning's Restaurant, and the National World War II Museum. Their longevity speaks to their quality of work, high standards, and reputation in the New Orleans area. Fritz Hertz Electric is lighting New Orleans.
Schoenberg keeps you close to those you care about most. The cornerstone of the Schoenberg community philosophy is that exceptional assisted living and memory care is personal. Personal care begins and ends with the person, and the family, friends, and loved ones of each resident play an important role in shaping and strengthening our communities. They know at Schoenberg that starting a new chapter in a new place is a big step, which is why they have developed 4 conveniently located memory care and assisted living communities across the greater New Orleans area. From Vista Shores' scenic location overlooking Bayou St. John and the roaming acres of Parc Provence in Slidell, to the award-winning memory care programs offered at Ashton Manor in Luling and Beau Provence in Mandeville, each Schoenberg community ensures that the highest quality of care and life for your loved one is only a quick car ride away, and the comfort of knowing you are always close by allows them to feel right at home. Come home to your nearest Schaumburg community today.
And longtime friends of this broadcast, Bob and Alice Hughes, probably sponsor this rebroadcast of the 2015 Le Coup d'Etat Parade.
Inside Publications. Watch for the new Inside New Orleans. It joins the Inside North Shore magazine in bringing you closer to your community with stories of history, home design, fashion, fun, and great food. Beautiful art on the cover, striking photography on the pages, and stories you want to hear. Join the conversation with some of the noted contributors like experts Tom Fitzmaurice. Local, engaged, and influential, very inside New Orleans. Again, thank you so much to all of these sponsors for making Coup d'Etat 2015 possible. Well, I hate to say it, but it's over. I wish this could keep going and keep going. It's so much fun, and if you didn't laugh at least a dozen times, there's something wrong with you. Le Coup d'Etat 2015 is history, but another one for the history books.
Absolutely, with lots of good throws too.
What'd
Check
you
it
get?
out,
Show
check it out.
us some of the.
Some Blinky bananas. This is the first crew that brought us the Blinky bead. I've got the
Right.
Blinky bananas and the Blinky flambeau skeleton.
Way
Pretty
cool.
Errol's got some cool bling
Blinky,
too.
yeah. You can't have too many blinkies. That's what I say. I mean, as you go through the year, you should have like a blinky for every day. And just think if everybody wore blinkies, what a better world this would be.
Yes,
I
we'd all
think-
be so
I'm all
happy.
I'm all for blinkies.
And now we've got Coup d'Etat to fill our daily lives too. The iPhone case from the High Priest Candy Wagon, the pencil or makeup brush case, all emblazoned with the theme, so you can think about it all year long.
And drink out of the cups, which I don't have at the moment. But I do have the coolest thing, I think, this year, personally, the banana that opens up to a bag to put all your cool stuff in. Thanks, Tom. That's so. Take your treasures home with you. But Errol won't let go of this guy.
No, well, I have
know.
trumps all of you. I'm sorry, but this is just the best. Okay, this is the dictator doll. And of course, the dictator is the man who runs the organization. There's no king here, so it's an actual dictator doll. Now, I figured out, I've checked with scientists, okay? Next year, Mardi Gras is February 9th, which means this parade will be February 5th, which runs the danger of being cold. Now, I understand if y'all like rub his head, it'll
Rub his
prevent
head.
it from being cold.
Okay,
We'll have a
okay, good.
warm
So,
year
okay,
next
yeah,
year.
it will only work for you two, and nobody else it works. And so there we are. It's guaranteed. It'll be a nice
I'm
balmy
gonna hold you
night.
to it, Errol.
Okay.
Yeah, February 5th. Wow, hard to believe, but they're already at work, I'm sure, in their minds planning this parade, because not only is it, on their minds all the time, these guys planning and thinking what they're going to do and who they're going to skewer next year, but it's the 20th anniversary parade. So we know it's going to be a spectacle and be pretty spectacular. So we hope you'll join us again for Le Coup d'Etat 2016 on February 5th of
Less
next
than a
year.
year away.
Less than a year away.
And
We hope
maybe Gallier Hall
yeah.
will be back in shape.
Yeah, and
And
pigs
if
will
it's
fly.
not,
and
I'm sure
stuff
they're
like
gonna
that.
make fun of it.
Don't make fun of it. Exactly. Thanks so much for being with us, and we'd like to thank our sponsors one more time for making this happen. Without you, this broadcast would not be possible. And thanks to the members of Le Coup d'Etat for putting on an awesome parade. We hope you'll join us again next year. Bye-bye, everybody.